You know what's going on. It's your job to decide what issues affect you and what issues matter to you. I have a couple. Now, we've gotten through the NDAA, but for months now, almost a year, many of you know of my absolute disgust regarding Air Care Colorado, EnviroTest, and whatnot. Having said that, if you were listening earlier to Luke, great. I encourage you to keep doing so because Luke does a fantastic job. And on the phone with him earlier today to talk more about what happened down in Denver regarding EnviroTest and regarding the people who are stealing money out of your pockets, who are playing politics, who are playing partisan politics in a way that I feel is criminal. Our Irish brother from another mother, Sean Conway, our Weld County Commissioner, joining us on the phone real quickly. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Scooter. How you doing?
Well, not half as pissed off as you sounded on the phone.
I'm sorry.
And no, and
got a
I
little
certainly
fired up this afternoon.
But and I certainly understand because what this is now getting stupid. And I'm not. You know that if you were here, I still wouldn't call you a liar. I'm not suggesting what you said was a lie. It just seems so difficult to believe that Representative Young would be so stupid to ask the types of questions that he asked today. Having said that, again, I'm not calling you a liar, but tell our listeners, if they didn't hear Luke's show today, what the hell is going on? What are they smoking? Did they break into my office? What the hell are they smoking down there?
Well, I don't know if they broke into your office, Scooter. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're really not out to get you.
I know that.
But
I tell that to Damon.
But, first of all, I really want to thank the majority of the committee today. I want to thank Representative Vaught, who just did a great job and has been a wonderful trooper on this bill. And for your listeners, I'm sure you know we're talking about House Bill 1103, the emissions bill. We thought we had a very common-sense bill today. I didn't anticipate much problems with the bill, but unfortunately it came down to a party line vote at the legislature today. We were able to get the bill out of committee on a 7-6 vote. But unfortunately, our own state representative, Representative Young, who replaced Jim Reesberg, unfortunately voted, what I believe is against the best interests of his constituents. I have reached out to Representative Young since his selection to replace Representative Reesberg. I made myself available to answer any questions. I went to his community meeting a week ago Saturday, said if there's anything, here's my card, give me a call, heard nothing. And when I got to the hearing today, quite frankly, the questions I was asked were, well, how's the data collected? Well, the data is collected by the Colorado Department of Health. It's not collected by me. So the disappointing thing, Scooter, is that, as you and I have talked about, this has a real impact on people's lives. You have experienced, at firsthand.
When listeners call the swap shop and have to sell their electric wheelchairs so that they can get their car to pass emissions, I came unglued.
Yeah. Well, and I've talked to you, just as you have, literally hundreds of people across Weld County who call me up, senior citizens, people working 2-3 jobs, trying to put a roof over their head and food on the table and clothes on their kids' back, saying, look, I can't afford $800 to fix my car to pass emissions. I need my car to get back and forth from work. We have a 9.1% unemployment rate in Greeley in Weld County. It's getting better, but we still have a lot of people hurting out there. And for what? I mean, if this was at least cleaning the air, I asked one of the EnviroTest people going out the door, who, by the way, Scooter, you'll love this, told me they recently conducted a poll in Weld County, and 60% of people support the emissions program. Did you know that?
That's the biggest load of horse I've heard. I didn't mean to quote Ken Buck, but oh God, 60%? No. I don't buy that for a minute.
Well, I don't either, and I told them all I know. I don't live by polls. I deal with the phone calls and the conversations I have with my constituents on a daily basis. And what I told them is, look, why don't you ask on your poll how Weld County residents would feel about the state of Colorado giving a company, a multinational corporation,
in Texas,
a sole source contract with no bid to charge $25 for every driver in most every driver in Weld County, with no appreciable or documentable increase in air quality. How many people would say, yeah, that's a good idea? She wasn't pleased to put that question on the poll, Scooter, as you can imagine. The bottom line is, Scooter, that unfortunately some of our elected officials still don't get it. I want to again try to be positive here. Representative Vaught did an outstanding job again. He's been a champion on this issue for 3 years now going on this thing. He fought Senate Bill 3 in 2009. Introduced legislation to repeal it in 2010, and then last year, and then again this year. He got it through the committee. We're going to the Appropriations Committee in a week or so. I'm optimistic we can get it through there and get it to the floor. I'm hopeful by the time we get it to the floor, we'll get some bipartisan support. I have every indication that there are a number of Democrats out there that see this issue, understand the impact it's having on people's lives, and they'll be supportive. I think the big thing is, at this particular point in time, it's very clear to me that those out there that have stories, that they show up. Representative Young is doing a town meeting.
So it's time to occupy.
Saturday.
It's time to occupy Representative Young.
Well, I'm not. I want to first and foremost say you need to be respectful. You need to not be no violence, no discourteousness, no impoliteness. Act like you would around your mother, okay?
Would it be fair to say just behave as I did in front of your body, the Weld County
No, you were very professional, Scooter, and I think if people are just respectful of the office and respectful, I think that Representative Young needs to hear from people. It is clear to me that the people that you and I talk to, he hasn't heard from, and I think to be fair, he's got to hear from folks in order to make a decision on this bill. And it's clear that Representative Young is believing the data and the stories that the Colorado Department of Health is feeding him. He's not hearing, other than myself and maybe a couple of others, counteractive information. And I think he needs to hear from his constituents, the senior citizens out there that are threatened with losing their independence through their automobile because they just can't afford the $700, $800, $900 repair bills. The working folks out there that need their car to get to work, but they're just working to try to, like I said, put a roof over their head,
exactly,
food on the table, and he needs to hear from the real people, and not the bureaucrats in Denver, not the people. I think, as I told Luke this afternoon when I got fired up, I'm just sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, we care for people, we care for our seniors."
No, Sean, they care about the money. They care about the revenue stream. Northern Colorado, we're going to take a very quick commercial break. Coming up on the phone here in just a moment, our guest tonight regarding Fukushima, Dan Junker, is going to be joining us. But we're going to just touch base real quickly again. If you're just joining us, Sean Conway's on the phone. I'm suggesting we occupy Representative Young. Probably not the smartest thing I've said. But Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m., hey, Gil, if you're listening, do me a favor. Call me on my cell right now. If you could fill in for me on the swap shop, that would be huge. I need to be over at the Evans Community Center. PJ needs to be there. Sean James needs to be there. Joe Riffle needs to be there. Northern Colorado, you need to be there. And we're going to tell you all about that with our Weld County Commissioner when we come back after a very quick break. Sean, you stay right on hold. Northern Colorado, we will be right back on the Scooter McGee Show.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired. Hi, this is Nick Pope, and you're listening to Scooter McGee on News Talk 1310 KFKA.
Northern Colorado. If all things go well, I'll see all of you 9 to 11 a.m. over at the Evans Community Center. Gil, if you're listening, call Micah real quick, would you? Or we'll see you all for Golden Years Theater, of course, Sunday night. And then when radio was, and of course, The Twilight Zone with Stacy Keach. Classic episodes with new voices. All of it right here on Colorado's first radio station, News Talk 1310 KFKA. Northern Colorado, a call to action from our Weld County Commissioner, Sean Conway, large and in charge, joining us on the phone for just a few moments. And then we're going to get right to our interview tonight with Dan Junker. We've got some serious problems. Broadcasters who claim that the comparison to Fukushima to Chernobyl was irresponsible. I point out how irresponsible it is for broadcasters to say that without looking at the actual video footage of spent fuel rods flying all over the place. Okay? On this radio station today, the headlines, top and bottom of the hour news, talking about why we're not building new nuclear reactors because of the continued crisis at Fukushima. We got problems, and we're going to get to Dan Junker here in just a moment. But I want to give Sean hopefully he's calmed down, and just very quickly highlight what has happened down in the committee regarding the emissions bill 1103. It was a 7-6 vote. It went right on party lines, party politics, partisan politics, again playing, and they're playing with your purse strings, and they're claiming they're doing this for the children. I think we all can see through that. Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. over at the Evans Community Center will be your chance to peaceably assemble. And I'm going to let Sean take over the rest here for a few more minutes, and then we're going to go to our guest, Dan Junker. Sean, welcome back.
Yeah, and Scooter, I would emphasize, please be respectful when you go to this meeting. Representative Young needs to know people's stories in terms of how this bill is impacting their lives. He is new. He was just recently appointed. It is clear that the Colorado Department of Health has gotten to him in terms of some numbers and some statistics, which they manipulate very well. He just needs to hear from his constituents. I think he genuinely has not had that opportunity.
Very good.
He is clearly holding a community meeting to hear his constituents' concerns. And I would just encourage people to be respectful, show up, and let him know how they feel about 1103 and ask for his support. He'll have an opportunity to vote on it a couple of more times as it goes through the process. And we want to, I've learned in life you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. Let's go educate Representative Young about the impact it's having in the community and solicit and ask for his support and vote.
Sean, I appreciate you spending time with us here in Northern Colorado talking about this. Will you be present at this event? Or
I have unfortunately, I will be there. I'll try to get there towards the end.
Okay.
I am speaking to the Veterans Coalition at 9 a.m.
Okay.
in Evans, but I will try to get over there before the end of the meeting.
If I can get Gil Moon to agree to fill in for the swap shop Saturday morning, obviously I will be there. Otherwise, if you don't see me there, then touch base with me after I get off the air at 11 a.m. so I can at least get the info up on the Facebook.
Will do.
But
I know
Sean James will be over there with bells on.
Wonderful.
Okay, again, our Weld County Commissioner, Sean Conway, jumping in on the show this evening. Thanks, Sean. Northern Colorado, a lot of the problems and the stories of the headlines continue, and we are going to get to a lot of them later tonight. The Los Angeles Police Department now setting up a domestic war room.